Welcome to the Editor's Note Comics Podcast.
I think that this world, it needs men that are willing to make the hard call.
Central Maine's best comics podcast, by default.
Ain't no thing like me, Seth Lee.
Here are your hosts, Zach and Jared.
Maps come with me. No. When do we start?
Hey everybody, welcome back to your regular scheduled programming. I almost got that out.
Wow.
Second try.
I'm so proud of you and your linguistic skills.
You had a vacation.
I did.
You're like, for what? Like, all right, that hour a week I spend talking about things.
Yeah.
To an audience of many. Welcome, the audience.
Hello, audience.
Why don't I ever take that away from you? I think because you take it back.
Yes, I do. I'm a child.
All right, I want to introduce a new segment to the show.
Oh, what? Really?
Just a small... Did you just see my notes?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, for tonight, I had to...
Holy Wow.
Yeah, I had to upgrade to typed notes to organize it.
It's incredible.
No handwritten scrawl. Well, I mean, still a good...
Yeah, there's still a good amount of handwritten scrawl.
But I thought, at least for the foreseeable future, and by foreseeable future, I mean the next 7 weeks, we could do the Mando Minute.
Ooh, okay.
Just talk about the Mandalorian for a minute.
Yes.
Not talking about a bunch, just talking about it a little.
It's the show that I am hooked. I am watching every week.
Yeah, I'm all caught up. And I think I'm enjoying every episode. Obviously, we didn't talk about episode 2, but I think I'm enjoying each episode so far more than the last, which is nice.
Yeah, it's not getting worse.
No, but do you know what I am ready to be done with?
Baby Yoda?
No, I'm fine with that.
Good.
I am all done.
That's not really Yoda.
No. But so far, every single episode, I mean, there's only been 3, but all 3 of them have ended with he gets in over his head, and then someone comes in and bails him out at the last second. The IG droid did it in the first one.
Yes.
Baby Yoda did it in the second one. The Mandalorians did it in the third one.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way they've ended every episode.
Listen, I love it, though.
I'm enjoying it, too. I just don't... I saw that, I'm like, that's the third time.
Are you saying he's really not a good Mandalorian?
I think he's a Boba Fett.
I have spoken.
I think he's a fumbling fool. Just like the last one we followed. Because he keeps on just getting bailed out by the other people in his life.
By the way, I love that each episode has a new phrase in it. I have spoken. This is the way. I'm all about it.
And the other one was, this is a Star Wars. No, it was, get us the egg. The egg!
Yes.
A weird, hairy egg.
Yeah, the egg.
Kill a space rhino for it.
Yes, he did kill a space rhino.
The director of the third one, there's been a lot of hype around it because that director is going to be working on the Obi-Wan show as well. So that's a good sign because I think the third episode was my favorite so far.
Yes. Did you hear one of the fan theories?
I don't know. Depends on what it is.
That the character who saves the Mandalorian is Obi-Wan when he was a child in the bunker during the purge of the Mandalorians.
We'll see. I mean, I'm going to say no because I feel like that the show is trying to say like there are other stories other than the ones you know.
Fair, but it's just a theory that
it's
I
possible.
saw
It could be
being peddled on the internet. By the way, how much did you love as much as I did when Carl Weathers was like, Mando? I kept thinking of Stallion.
I love Carl Weathers.
He's awesome.
But there you go. That's your Mando Minute. New weekly segment until this ends, and then Picard starts up, and we'll do a quick peek at Picard.
That sounds voyeuristic.
Which, by the way, there's a mini-series that just started this week leading up to the series.
Yeah.
Solid.
Good.
I can't tell if the last Star Trek book that we did, the Star Trek Countdown one, is still going to be canon, but it was really solid.
I love a good canon.
I mean, if you check the preview page, I won't spoil anything, but there is an old Next Generation character in there. There's a mystery about who is commanding the Enterprise. The way they're talking about it, it's someone we know, but I don't know who it is.
Is it Tomalak?
I don't know who. I mean,
it wouldn't be him. He's a Romulan traitor.
They're dealing with the Romulans.
Of course they are.
This whole book is about the Romulans. Whatever. That was our Mando Minute. I guess I should say it up front because I am a business doing sales for this big shopping week. 40% off if it's not a new release.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a good time. It's a good deal. It's going to be the best deal for the rest of the year, so get in on it.
Well, there it is.
But for this Thanksgiving Day show, which, by the way, I'm releasing a little bit early on Thanksgiving, so if people have a commute, they can listen to it.
Oh, wow.
Usually what I do for I do it like 24 hours after I post it to Patreon, so there is a full day in between. But for this one, I'll release it a little bit early, mostly because I put so much damn work into it, and I want to make sure people actually hear this one.
Okay, there you go.
This beast of a show. But because the show is so jam-packed, let's just jump into the news.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
It's time for the news.
This is my favorite story of the week. A Rise of Skywalker script made its way onto eBay.
Uh-oh.
A real one.
Uh-oh.
Disney was able to get it shut down, but J.J. Abrams, it was on Good Morning America. He's like, yeah. So one of the cast members, I'm not going to say who, but I really want to say who it was, put it under their bed, and then they had a house cleaner come in, and the house cleaner snagged it, and then they gave it to someone to fence it.
Wow.
So yeah, like a real script for Rise of Skywalker.
Why was it
on
under their
eBay.
bed?
I don't know.
I so badly wanted to be like, who do I want it to be?
Billy D.
Okay.
I don't know. No, because I don't think because he's not going to want to bend over far enough to get under the bed. He's walking with a cane.
No. What about maybe it was Daisy Ridley?
It could be. I was going to say John Boyega.
I was also thinking that'd be a solid choice.
He's like, I think he's pretty good at being tight-lipped, but I could see him being loosey-goosey with a script.
Yeah. Could have been Warwick Davis.
I don't think he has lines.
That's fair.
But also the way JJ was saying, like, I really want to say who it was, makes me think it was one of the younger ones. I just think that's funny. That was just my favorite story of the week.
What if it was Kylo Ren?
Could have been.
Yeah.
I don't know. He seems like he's ex-military, so I imagine he's pretty buttoned down and on top of that kind of organizational stuff.
That's fair.
So I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Here's the craziest story of the week.
Oh, good.
It makes you a little, it's like shocking, but also makes you a little sick just to think about the amount of money.
I like money.
Yeah, I wish I had this kind of money.
Is this Netflix money, Hulu money, or Disney money?
This is an auction.
Oh, okay. We like auctions.
Marvel Comics #1. The thing that kind of kicked off the whole Marvel Comics phenomenon of it had Namor, the Submariner in it, and also the Human Torch, not Johnny Storm, the android one.
Okay.
There's a copy of it that has been CGC'd as a 9.4.
Wow, that's a high grade for something that old.
Insanity.
That's something you never take out of the wrapper.
I don't get stuff in my boxes that are 9.4 a good chunk of the time. They come directly from the distributor because like someone kicked a box or sat on it or something. I don't get 9.4 stuff. So there was a 9.4 of Marvel Comics #1. Want to take a stab in the dark at what that sold for?
$2.5 million.
You're high, but...
No, I'm not. I'm actually, I don't get high. Oh, 750,000.
1.26 million.
You know, if I split it right down the middle.
For one comic. 1.26 million.
Wow.
Insane.
Now I wish I had found it.
I also don't know the history of who had this? Who had this weird high grade version of this insanely rare and seminal comic for all this time?
Can you imagine if you worked for the grading company and that like they send it to you or they like take you to grade it and you're like, I want this now.
I think that one would be well insured to say that you couldn't take it.
Yes.
There's probably some deep insurance on that one.
Oops, spilled my coffee on it as I was grading it.
Yeah, oh boy. But that's insane. 1.26 million for a comic.
Wow.
Like $5.
Get that for, would you sell that for 40% off?
Depends on how much I bought it for, I guess.
That's fair.
If I'm like, fine, 700,000.
We would never see you again, would you?
It'd still probably have to work eventually. Maybe I'd just invest it.
Would the podcast be over?
Well, maybe not, because I don't have anything else to do.
Oh, great.
That'd be a daily podcast.
I don't have time for that. Unless you're paying me from your $700,000.
Never.
You son of a bitch. I ain't working for free.
Godzilla vs. King Kong has been pushed back 8 months to November 2020.
Wow, there's a lot going on November 2020.
You know what I say? Yeah. Good. If a movie needs more time to be developed properly, you give it that time.
Oh, you mean like Batman vs. Superman?
Batman vs. Superman got an extra year.
What about Justice League?
Oh, they got not much at all.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get into that. Whatever, I'm not that concerned about it. Like, great, if it needs to be pushed back a little bit to get it done right, go for it. I'm not that concerned. Here's a weird one. We're not the only one to review the Fantastic Four 2015 movie recently.
Oh, really?
The director reviewed it on Letterboxd. I've never heard of Letterboxd before, but he reviewed it on there.
Yes.
Basically said, I haven't seen this since 2 weeks before it came out. He's like, it's all right.
Just all right?
So there's a couple of two movies competing in there, and neither one of them really wins out. He's like, all the cast is great, and I'm not sure if this is the movie that they deserved. I really can't tell. And then he goes into kind of a bunch of personal stuff. He's like, my girlfriend says I probably should have talked the movie more than myself, but shrug emoji.
I do love a good shrug emoji.
I don't do emojis.
I know. You don't do text.
I do.
Zachary, don't tweet.
I try.
You're getting better. I liked getting hourly updates on your research for the show. It's like, what time and what are we talking about? Don't worry. I'll do all the work. Just show up.
Did you do any pre-reading for this?
No, I did not.
God, okay, that's fine.
You told me not to.
You could have freelanced it, but that's fine. I got enough.
Well, right after school, I had basketball practice, then a parent meeting, then I had to eat, and I came here.
But yeah, that's just a
You
weird
tell me
thing.
when I had time to do what you do.
I didn't. That's what makes it bad.
All right.
That really screwed up my week.
Oh, well, you chose to do this.
But yeah, that's a fun thing if you want to go see Josh Trank review his own. Look, I'm going to say it's worse than All Right. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I don't think All Right really covers it. But speaking of movies that are all right, but some people love.
Movies.
Since The Joker has grossed over $1 billion.
Are they talking? They're talking about a sequel, aren't
They're talking
they?
about a sequel. It was confirmed, and then the director came in and he's like, it's not confirmed. It's absolutely not confirmed. But conversations are happening about a Joker sequel. But since it cracked $1 billion,
Yeah.
it's probably happening.
That's like a massive turn on profit for that, though.
Yeah, because that was super low budget.
Mm.
And people seem to like it.
Well, if they're going to do a sequel, then does that lead credence to the fact that this might be like his character was the Joker at the end?
I mean, I guess we'll have to see. I mean, I won't because I won't see it because I hated that movie. I'm not going.
Well, I'll go.
You can review it then.
I will.
You can tell me what happened because I'm not going to see a sequel to that. I really, really did not like that movie.
Jared's quickie review.
Well, if there's a Mando minute and peeking at Picard, we can have a...
A Richmond recap.
I was going something with the Joker. I was having trouble with the J word.
Oh, I don't know.
Joshing it with the Joker.
No, we're not going to josh it with the Joker. Jiving with the Joker.
Sure.
Yeah, that's better.
Enjoy your $15. Here's a surprise one.
Oh, I like surprises.
It's a good surprise.
Oh, okay.
Noah Hawley, who most recently was doing Legion, is going to be directing Star Trek 4. Star Trek 4 is back.
It's back, baby.
But no Hemsworth, it sounds like.
But we get Christopher Pine.
Yes, if you're going to say his full name, Christopher Pine is back.
Yes.
No one's ever called him Christopher.
I'm sure somebody's called him Christopher.
His mother.
And probably more than just his mother.
Yeah, so Chris Pine is back. And 'cause what happened before, if you remember, it was supposed to be a time travel thing where Hemsworth and Pine were going to meet and go off on a rollicking father and son adventure, except the two of them walked away from the table because of what they were going to get paid because Star Trek Beyond, although I like the movie a lot, underperformed.
Yes.
But I guess the answer is we'll just don't pay Hemsworth and give that money to Pine.
Wow.
Boom, budget problem solved.
That works for Chris.
Which one?
Pine.
Because before it was going to be Chris on Chris action, now it's just one Chris. Just one Chris.
No, not two. One.
Yeah, whatever. I'll totally see another one of these Star Trek movies. I mean, the obvious kind of downside is Chekhov.
Yeah. I wonder how they'll write that in.
They said when it happened they weren't going to recast.
Yeah,
So, yeah, we'll see. Do you like unanswered questions from The Force Awakens?
Yes.
Not really, but I guess that's just what we live with.
You know what? For the sake of argument, since I ruined your sticky note thing 2 weeks ago, yes, I love unanswered questions.
Oh, right, that thing. Like, what sticky note thing? Like, that sticky note thing, the thing
Yeah.
where I tried to predict what you would say.
And you were wrong.
Well, if you want to find out how Maz Kanata got Luke Skywalker's lightsaber...
Yes, I do, actually.
It's not going to be in a movie.
Well, damn it.
But you can find it coming up this 2020, early 2020, in Star Wars number 3.
Oh.
Star Wars ran for 75 issues, going between New Hope and Empire. This is going to be between Empire and Jedi, and in number 3, they said it may be answered, so I assume that means it will be answered. Because what a weirdly specific thing to say.
Does she also have his hand with it?
Maybe Luke was a clone all along. They cloned him from the hand.
Ah.
I think that was an expanded universe thing.
Possibly.
I know nothing about the expanded universe.
You know nothing, period.
I know that you might want to pre-order Star Wars number 3 if you want to find out how she got that lightsaber.
I'll just wait for everyone to spoil it on the internet.
You know, this is supposed to be a promotional podcast.
Oh, sorry. I can't wait to buy that comic. Wink.
And last bit of news that kind of ties into this week's topic. Henry Cavill has said he is open to do more Superman. His quote was, "I've not given up the role."
See, I don't think he's a bad Superman.
And he had another quote about Justice League that we'll do later.
Yes.
Teaser for later in the episode.
Ooh, okay.
But that's it for the news. And since you weren't here last week, we have an extra double-sized edition of the last 2 weeks in comics history.
Oh, my goodness.
Superhero landing coming up.
This week in comics history.
I had to cut. There's a lot of stuff I would have covered normally, but we could only do the biggies.
Ah, all right. Well, only the biggies it is.
Let's check out these fatties.
I don't know if you can call it that, but Go for it.
Let's see if I can figure this out chronologically. This is an interesting one. In 1940, the precursor to the JLA, the JSA, Justice Society of America, first appeared in All-Star Comics number 3. But what's interesting about this, aside from it being the very first team-up title, so going back to 1940, some of the characters in the JSA weren't owned by DC. They were owned by another company, All American Publications.
All right.
So this is also the first intercompany superhero title.
Huh. The first amalgam, if you would?
No, it's not that. It's never that, except
Wow,
for
that was
time in the 90s.
That was a very aggressive response.
Another weird one, or another fun one, I guess.
Yes.
Oh, I punned myself. I didn't even know it. Superboy first appeared in More Fun Comics number 101.
I like fun comics.
But here's what's interesting about this one. So this Superboy isn't a different character Superboy as we would kind of know him today. This Superboy was just, young Superman. But this character was originally pitched by one of the co-creators of Superman, Jerry Siegel, in 1938, and it was turned down by DC.
Well, dumb on their part.
So Siegel didn't get his way in 1938, and then this happened in 1944. But Siegel had nothing to do with it because he was off serving in World War II.
What a great American.
But the other co-creator of Superman, Joe Shuster, was doing the art on it, which is something that, caused a bit of a rift.
A little bit, I think.
Yeah, weird, right?
Yeah, one of them's off saving the country and saving the world from the Nazis, and the other one's making money off his concept.
Yeah, weird.
Exactly.
In 1979, She-Hulk made her first appearance in Savage She-Hulk number 1. Much like Spider-Woman, She-Hulk was created to protect a copyright just in case someone else did it. Good job, Marvel. But this was the last original character Stan Lee created before he returned to Marvel in 1992. So between 79 and 92, he had no original characters.
That's a long time to
He's
go.
gone, yeah.
Yeah. She-Hulk.
In 1984, one of the biggest franchises in history popped up. Probably the biggest manga
Oh no,
of
I'm
all
not.
time.
No, I'm not manga.
Could you think of what I assume this is the biggest manga of all time? It certainly is in America.
Isn't it like the girl in the something or other?
Dragon Ball.
Oh, Dragon Ball Z.
No, just regular Dragon Ball.
Oh, just one Dragon Ball.
Just Dragon Ball.
Why do they call it Dragon Nut?
I don't know what to tell you. But Dragon Ball made its first appearance in 1984. That stuff hasn't gone away. It's still massive.
Well, is it like Dragon Ball Z? Is that the same?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Have they run out of letters of the alphabet?
I think that was just a TV thing where they
Dragon Ball AA, Dragon Ball AB.
I know they had to
Dragon Ball O negative.
They had a sequel show that just wrapped up not that long ago.
Oh, okay.
And I know the manga is still coming out in America, at least because I order them and they sell. It's still going. Like the toys sell like nuts, shirts, everything. Like it's a crazy merchandising.
You said
thing.
nuts. You mean Dragon Balls.
Great. And then in 1985, the greatest piece of American literature debuted.
My baby book.
Calvin and Hobbes.
Ah, yes.
Kicked off in 1985. Stand by, best American literature ever done.
All right.
Hey, I love it.
You're entitled to your opinion.
Damn good. In 1992, this week.
I just don't trust a man who hates Garfield.
It's not funny.
I think it's funny.
In 1992,
Not all
this
comics
week,
are supposed to be funny. Look at Shoe, Family Circus, Prince Valiant.
a blockbuster comic event. Literally lines around the block were busting them. Black armbands were worn everywhere. Because
Superman
this
die?
is the week that Superman died.
Ah, I knew it.
In 1992 in Superman number 75. Of course, he'd be back like 4 months later.
He's just taking a nap.
He wasn't dead for that long. But yes, about as long as he was dead in Justice League. Maybe less in that movie. In 1994, the thing I'm rewatching on Disney Plus premiered. Spider-Man the Animated Series kicked off for its 65-episode run, which was a huge marketing boom in the 90s that made Spider-Man even more popular than he already was.
And it's on Disney Plus.
It is. I'm watching it.
I need to probably watch it. I could probably watch it on my vacation.
It's a good time. I'm enjoying it. I forgot how much Peter was just kind of a player in that show. He's just hopping back and forth between girls, like literally within like the same scene.
His spider sense isn't the only thing that's tingling.
Yeah, he's just like, Mary Jane, wait, but Felicia Hardy, wait. Like literally they'll be in the same scene and he's just bouncing back and forth from girl to girl.
He was Tindering before Tindering was a Tinder.
He's like, oh man, the supermodel or just the really hot one?
Webs weren't the only thing he was swinging.
Yeah, he's all about the ladies. I kind of forgot about that, but yeah.
So much for being a teenage loser.
No, he's pretty ripped and he's just dating hot women.
Good for him.
Making out with them in front of his aunt.
You know, it's an open
It
family.
was a weird scene.
Whatever.
In 2004, this is the last one. one of the characters that was perpetually said couldn't be resurrected was resurrected. There used to be a rule in comic around those.
Bucky?
Yes. You couldn't bring back Uncle Ben and you couldn't bring back Bucky. Well, in 2004 in Captain America #1, probably my favorite Captain America run of all time by Ed Brubaker, Bucky returned.
I remember. See, I paid attention. I know my history-ish.
But that'll do it for this week in comics history. So going from the Rat King to the Sacramento Kings, it's time for Jared's Sports Reports.
He's running down the middle by the 50. He's at the 30. Bare-chested. The guy is drunk, but there he goes. Oh, and they tackle him at the 40-yard line.
It's time for another Jared Sports Report.
So I just have one question. Last week on the Jared Sports Reports where I wasn't here, did you just talk about the NBA forever?
No, I just did the interview. The interview was long enough. It counted as an episode.
Oh, okay.
You said you were going to listen. I knew you weren't.
You're right. I didn't. I've been busy. I've had a lot of things to do. Let's see. Sports Reports. Patriots are 10-1. 17th straight season they've had at least 10 wins.
We didn't get to even talk about the fight.
What fight?
The helmet off fight.
Oh, yes. The fight.
I was so sad that you were gone for that week. I'm like, this is the craziest thing.
Certainly wasn't a good look for the league. The man used a weapon to hit another man in the head.
To be fair, everyone was trying to pull off helmets.
Well,
that was insane.
Yeah, it was. But anyway, let's talk about the Patriots 10-1 after they beat the Dallas Cowboys, and they also beat the who else did they beat? I can't remember. Somebody good.
Look, I don't even care anymore.
I've just kind of became ambivalent to it. But 17 straight seasons with at least 10 wins, an NFL record. Unbelievable sustained excellence by this organization. Rob Gronkowski has officially said he is not coming back to football in the foreseeable future. He's enjoying his role with Fox. He's even set up Gronk's beach party for Super Bowl weekend. Can you imagine what kind of party that's going to be? The Super Bowl's in Miami, so
people will just be chucking beer cans at him. He'll be catching them and shotgunning them.
Absolutely, he will be. Bahama Mamas, sex on the beach, and the drink. Yeah, all of that. So let's see. What else? He put out a weird advertisement for it. I'll show it to you later. It's very weird, but that's just me.
All right, we're deep into the season. Where do your Super Bowl predictions stand?
They're still the same. Patriots, Saints.
All right.
Everyone's high on the Ravens. I think the Ravens could be a problem for the Patriots in the AFC, but we'll see. Let's go to the NHL where the Boston Bruins continue to just be absolutely ridiculous. They lead the Atlantic Division of the Eastern Conference. They've won their last 3. They've got 35 points. Quite a substantial lead. Not the most points as far as wins and losses are concerned in the NHL, but second in the NHL overall. But they lead in goal differential. They're a plus 23.
Good for them.
Yes, that's very, very good for them. The next closest team that I can see is at 13 for goal differential.
Yeesh.
At least they're not the Toronto Red Wings. Actually, 16, sorry, the Capitals. The Capitals are the best team in the NHL probably right now. But are you ready for this? The Red Wings, goal differential, minus 39.
I wasn't going to go that far.
They're 7-16-3. The Bruins still have not had a home regulation or home loss, period.
I can think of another Boston team that hasn't had a home loss yet.
Let me guess. Is it the Celtics?
Good guess.
Thank you.
I can't tell what you're looking up.
This came up as I was looking up the NHL standings. It's kind of sad. It's about Mr. Rogers' widow saying he was no saint, and that's a better legacy. Interesting, but she's laughing, so maybe it's not a bad thing. All right. So, yeah, the Celtics also playing well.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about, did you hear about the potential league changes that are going to be voted on?
No.
You said it so dismissive. I'm curious what your opinion is.
Well, what are they?
One of them would be decreasing to a minimum of 78 games.
I'm all for it.
I think so. I think it would help with this whole load management thing, and also might help make games, more people tune in. Because, get something like football where every game's an event, and basketball, there's just a bunch of them.
Yeah.
They're talking about a 30-team in-season tournament in the mid-season.
What?
Unclear what it would be for, but to try and do like single-round elimination mid-season tournament.
That's weird.
I think you'd have to make it for something.
Yeah.
Like, you'd have to be like a guaranteed like certain slot in the playoffs, or like you get a certain draft pick, or because I don't think players are going to play for money. They don't seem to care once they're in the echelon that they're at.
Yeah, I don't know. You would have to have something of significant value.
I think you'd also and this is when I say I think, I'm stealing this thought. I thought it was a good thought. That you'd have to do it for at least, like, you would have to make a deal for at least 10 years. So it could be one of those things that could grow and develop. So people wouldn't just like, you could do it for like 2 years. Then they're like, yeah, it's not working. To actually like put a solid effort into developing it.
Yeah.
Discussion of reseeding the tournament in the semifinals, not the entire tournament, but to have the semifinals be based purely on record versus just on East versus West.
Huh.
Which will probably be a stepping stone to just being overall record versus division.
So you get like the best teams.
Yeah, so you might have a West versus West or an East versus East.
I'm not opposed to that.
If you make the finals more
competitive, maybe, but the finals have gone 6 or 7 games for a while now. So
yeah.
You know what? I like having the Eastern Conference, Western Conference. I'm okay with them like reseeding it to make sure you get, your 2 best teams wait till they play for the championship. Sometimes the semifinals, just based on seeding, the 2 best teams are playing each other then.
I feel like there was one more that I just can't remember off the top of my head, but they're going to be voting on this stuff in April.
I saw some stupid proposal about free throws.
That's in the G League.
Yeah, I think it's dumb.
We talked about this a while ago.
Okay. Well, see, I had paid kind of attention to something.
Yeah, the G League, to help speed up the game, you get one free throw that's valued to what the shot would have been.
Yeah, dumb.
Except for the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, then it goes back to traditional.
Yeah, so if I'm a really bad shooter, but I'm good at free throw shooting, but I'm an inside guy, I would just chuck threes and get fouled and get 3 points for 1 free throw. It's dumb.
Yeah, I don't think it's a great rule either.
No.
But it's supposedly it's cutting games by 8 minutes.
Oh, 8 whole minutes. You know what's going to reduce the length of games? Fewer TV timeouts.
That too.
There you go.
But yeah, so those are just proposed changes. I'm kind of...
Did you see the video of Taco Fall trying to learn how to swim?
I didn't see a video. I saw photos.
Oh, yeah. He could just stand up in the deep end and be okay.
Yeah. But this, by the time this goes out, this game will have already happened, but I will talk about my big disappointment for this week.
Yes.
Kyrie, what? He has a shoulder injury.
Yeah, it's what...
big air quotes on this, because this week he was going to be playing the Cavs and the Celtics.
In Cleveland and in Boston.
Yeah. And he has a shoulder injury.
The shoulder injury is what's on top of his shoulders.
But so just for those who don't know, Kyrie, who played in Cleveland, he's gone back to Cleveland once, and that's because it was the season opener. He hasn't been back to Cleveland since the season opener, and obviously he hasn't played in Boston yet. This is one of the most anticipated games, but I was also ready for it to be one of the most disappointing because I wasn't expecting him to come back. And here's my theory for March when he's supposed to come back.
He's going to have a shoulder injury?
His foot or something.
Well.
Load management game.
There you go. It's probably more...
Which made me realize, you know what I want more than anything in the world?
To have load management?
Yeah, that'd be nice. But, I mean, the Celtics will go far this year. I don't think they're going to be a championship contender. But you know what I want now? More than anything else?
Pie?
I only really like pumpkin. For the Celtics to play the Nets in the playoffs in the first round.
Yeah?
That is all I want out of the season now. So
that's fair.
So Kyrie has to play in Boston.
Otherwise, the series... Yeah, I like it.
Oh, that's all I want. But yeah, they're doing great. Kemba, boy, did you see that hit?
Oh yeah, that's scary. Very weird.
And it's nothing. It's nothing.
Well, I mean,
he has a sprain. He has a neck sprain.
You have a neck sprain and see how you feel.
I have a sprain right now.
Do you really?
Yeah, a bit.
From what?
I'm like a month. I slept on it. Funny.
Oh, that's not a sprain. That's just a weird
Oh no, something happened.
Oh, it's called getting old, Zach. It's called getting old.
But yeah, he ran head first into Olive Shemiogele, who's built like a tank.
Yes.
Dropped like a sack of bricks. They brought him out on a stretcher. It looked bad. And then they're like, oh, turns out just a sprain.
Concussion-like symptoms.
He could have played yesterday. They just kept him out. He went through all the concussion protocol in a day. No issues.
Yeah.
And he's going to play on Wednesday's game.
I'm sure that when he jammed his neck and he got sprained, it made his body go numb. And
yeah.
I'm sure it did not feel good.
So on their 5-game road trip, I went to that saying they're going to go out 2-5. I was right. I wasn't right about which games it was, but they did go 2-5. Do you know how many points they lost every game? All 3 games they lost. Want to know how many points that was by?
Less than 10?
It was 8.
Wow.
And that was also against the Clippers, were their first time with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George playing together. So that's a good sign. And being down Gordon Hayward for the whole thing.
Yeah, remember that Gordon Hayward is out and he's injured, but he'll be back. Add him back into the mix.
Yeah, so it's all good signs, all good stuff.
Yeah, there's nothing to worry about with this team.
Nice positive vibes. I just wish Kyrie was playing on Wednesday. I really wanted that game.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, I'm sure that you would have had so much sway over that game.
Well, I mean, they're going to play. I'm sure he'll be fine by Friday when they're going to play him.
Then watch that game and boo him then.
I will.
Okay.
It's going to be on at noon. It's going to be on in the store if you want to come by.
All right, a free viewing at the store of Zach watching basketball.
You can steal stuff because he'll be facing the television.
Oh, wow. There you go. Free stuff at the store on Friday.
Well, and I mean, that's also part of it too, because I don't know if you remember this from last year. Kyrie was being interviewed by Abby Chin on TV, and he got fined for this for going the night before Thanksgiving on live television.
See, I knew I didn't trust him at that time.
So I was so badly wanted to see Kyrie Thanksgiving Irving right before Thanksgiving again.
Wow.
They're not getting him post Thanksgiving, but he's going to be up and moving quickly because he doesn't have any of that turkey dragging him down.
I love turkey. I love Thanksgiving. It's probably my favorite
It's
holiday.
a noon game. What a terrible time for a game.
That's the prime eating. That's on Friday. So
Yeah, but still, everyone's going to be sluggish, but not him because he's not going to have any of that turkey in him because, Thanksgiving.
I love Thanksgiving. It's my favorite holiday.
But I guess
I've been
that's all
talking
of
about it with my kids all week long.
I know, you do like Thanksgiving.
God damn right I do.
So that's 2 weeks of NBA talk.
There you go. I got 2 weeks of Thanksgiving talk.
All right.
Like here, hot take, green bean casserole sucks.
Because it's vegetable based.
No, it's not just because of that. It's just not good. Do you like green bean casserole?
Totally. I'm totally cool with it.
Oh, see, whatever. You have every right to be wrong.
You were so ready for me to back you up, and then you fell apart so fast.
Well, this is what happens when you don't pay attention. We go like 12 days without seeing each other. You forget who I really am.
I know you don't like vegetables.
That's not true. I like asparagus. I'll have carrots and turnips.
Yeah.
Mashed carrots and turnips.
Turnips?
Yeah, mashed carrots and turnips. You've never had that?
I'm with Kyrie on this one.
Oh, come on. And pie, all of the pies.
But all right. From there, let's get into this one. Let's see if I get any angry Twitter comments or emails from it.
Yes.
It is time, 2 years later, to talk Justice League.
For if knowledge is power, then a god am.
It's time to get an editor's education.
So, why are we talking about this week?
Restore the Snyder Cut.
So, the 2-year anniversary of Justice League has come and gone.
I can't believe it's been 2 years.
And it just keeps popping up all over the place.
Here, there, and everywhere.
And we'll get into some of the why of it. But this movie fascinates me on a deep level. Here's what I did this
Because you like
week.
justice?
I'm also a fan of it. Boom,
Yes.
punch, Superman theme. Weird mustache. This week leading into this, I did something I haven't done in a couple of years. I rewatched Batman vs. Superman,
Yes.
the special edition.
Yeah.
It's still a nonsense mess, and I don't like it. I think I actually dislike it more every time I watch it, but I haven't watched it since we did it last time.
And you own it.
I haven't watched it since then.
Oh.
It's not good. It's real bad.
But you own it.
But then I rewatched, because that was the only way to get the special edition.
Fair.
But then I rewatched Justice League, which I haven't done since we saw it in theaters.
Did your opinion change?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's fine. I really hated it when we saw it, but I think I knew what I was going into.
So you went in like you had a preconceived notion that you were going to hate the movie, and now with the benefit of time,
It's fine.
yeah,
It's not good. All the problems I said that existed still exist.
it's not like
but
the movie changed fundamentally.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm not going to say that I was having a, rompus good time, but it's fine.
A rumpus, let the wild rumpus begin.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not good. It's not the worst thing ever. Batman vs. Superman is way worse, but it's fine.
Okay.
Which compared to when we first reviewed it, I think I said it broke me.
Yeah, I believe you did say something.
2
like
years
that.
later, it's fine.
You've mended up. You've mended up quite well in 2 years.
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Nobody was worried about you being broken in the first place.
But because this whole Release the Snyder Cut stuff won't go away, I wanted to do a deep dive. We just did a theme, by the way. We haven't heard it in a while. An editor's education. That's the theme.
Oh, okay. By the way, this is 3 pages, single-spaced, 8-point font note.
I had to do this one on a computer. Normally, I just handwrite all my notes, but I had to handwrite everything and then organize them in a fashion that made sense because I was jumping from source to source, thing to thing.
All right.
But we're going to go all the way back and figure out what the hell happened with this movie, a little bit of why it happened, what was supposed to happen, and what is happening now.
All right.
And by the time this comes out, there could be more news. I literally, on this whole research thing, there was literally multiple bits of news that dropped about this movie today. It's still coming out constantly. So by the time this comes out, as of right now, this is a very comprehensive history. And just to cover my ass on that one. No, I'm not covering every small detail. We're covering mostly.
It can't be very comprehensive if you're saying you're not covering every small detail. You can say it's moderately comprehensive.
It's pretty comprehensive, but I'm not going to cover like every tiny tidbit.
Reasonably comprehensive.
We're making it work.
This is not master's. This is master's level thesis, not doctorate level thesis.
Yes, basically.
Okay, there we go.
If you want it, because boy, I don't even have a thesis. I just have a history.
Okay.
So, how did this happen? Pre-production. Pre-production.
Pre-production.
In 2014, Zack Snyder was announced to be the director of Justice League.
Hold on. Wouldn't pre-production still just be pre-production?
I know, but this is like the announcement.
That's pre-production.
I know. I just threw an extra pre in there.
Okay, for no purpose whatsoever. Yeah. See, now you're just trying to inflate your. This might only be like bachelor's level work if you're inflating things like that.
I'm sorry, do you want me to read this word for word, or do you want me to have a little bit of leeway in
I'd like to be out of here at some reasonable hour, yes.
But Zack Snyder's announced as the director of Justice League 2 whole years before Batman vs. Superman was released. And keep in mind, that movie got an extra year of production.
Pre-production.
Yeah. Snyder's also announced as the Justice League 2 director with a release of 2019. It's 2019, and have you seen a Justice League 2?
I have not.
I barely saw Justice League 1.
It's fine.
It is. It's just fine. It's totally fine. Totally watchable. Not great.
Okay, move on.
But there was an original script that he was working on with Chris Terrio that was deemed to be too crazy from Warner Brothers, so they basically scrapped all of it. Would you like to know what was in that original script?
Yes.
Zack Snyder has these events from time to time. It's like a weekend with the director where you watch some of his movies and he talks about them with you. He has another one coming up, so there's probably going to be more Justice League information that comes out of that. But originally, in the Justice League that never was in any way, shape, or form happening, because of the nightmare sequence we saw in Batman vs. Superman, where he's in the desert and he's shooting guys and fighting parademons and Superman's evil.
Yes.
Batman, Flash, and a half-broken cyborg, like he's been torn in half, are seen in the not-too-distant future where Darkseid has taken over the world. Basically what we saw before.
In the not-too-distant future?
Yes, that's the song.
Okay.
They talk about how they need to save Lois Lane from being killed by Darkseid to prevent Superman from giving into the anti-life equation, which is the thing that's made him evil. So basically, Batman is talking to the Flash, and the Flash says, okay, there are 2 possible points that I can go back in time to. Because the way they do time travel, which I kind of liked, is it's not time and space travel, it's just time travel. So you can only time travel at certain points based on where the Earth's rotation is around the sun. Because if you just time travel at any kind of willy-nilly point, you'll just end up in the middle of space.
That's reasonable.
I like that.
Yeah.
So there are 2 points where the Flash can go back. We saw one of them where he pops into the Batcave. He's like, it's too soon. Lois Lane is the key. You have to save her, blah, blah, blah. And Batman goes, well, not that one, because you did that and it didn't work. So what's the other point you can go back to? He's like, well, there's a second point right before Lois Lane is killed in the Batcave. Darkseid comes down with a boom tube and kills her right in front of you.
Oh.
It's like, so I can go back to that point. But that's all I really said about that. So that was the too crazy version.
It seems like it'd be a lot to process and comprehend.
But ultimately, they had to totally redo the script. Some of that was in what they redid, but mostly that was gone.
Were they worried, do you think, that Darkseid and time travel was going to be too close to, like, Thanos?
Not at the time. Because if they were working on this in 2014, 2015, no.
Oh. Had this happened, we wouldn't have gotten the time heist.
Maybe not. Yeah, that's true. But Batman vs. Superman underperformed critically and commercially. It was supposed to be like, this is a home run. It's Batman and Superman. Put them together. We're going to make $1 billion.
Didn't.
They did not.
New narrator, they didn't.
I've never really seen that show.
No.
I'm told I'd like it. I'm told it's like kind of like, if you like comedy, it's like a comedian's kind of comedy show.
Oh, okay.
I've never really seen it. So this is where things get messy.
All right.
I guess the second time, because their first script was totally scrapped. Batman vs. Superman is released in March, underperforms, has a killer opening weekend, does terrible. That's in March. And Justice League is supposed to start shooting in April.
Kind of need a script.
They do a hard handbrake turn to try and switch this up. This immediate reworking of the script. And supposedly there's a bunch of clashing with the studios. There's a writers group that's assembled of people who aren't Zack Snyder and the other co-writer Chris Terrio. One of those guys was reportedly Joss Whedon. and a few others. And Jeff Johns, one of the 3 heads of DC, was doing rewrites that clashed with Chris Terrio's ideas as far as what their original intent was. I also couldn't find anything solid to say that Jeff Johns' ideas ended up in the final product. Unclear, but we know that there was at least production difficulties. Movie shoots from April to October of 2016, and then unfortunately, Zack Snyder has to leave the production in post-production due to a family tragedy.
Yes, I remember we talked about this.
But there are other reports from multiple sources. I can't confirm these are real, or I can't, it's kind of hard to tell, but other reports claim that he was removed from the project by DC, which certainly isn't unheard of. Star Wars removes like every director from every project 3/4 of the way through, it seems.
The Force is not with them.
Yeah, so other reports claim that he was fired and that his version was, in quotes, unwatchable.
Ah.
It's also been reported there were at least 3 different cuts that were put together. These are generally referred to as assembly cuts. It's not, the finished product of a movie. You'll have people standing on green screen. In some cases, you might just have stand-in actors, or you might have an animatic. But 3 cuts of it were supposedly assembled. But whether he left due to personal reasons or he was fired, either way, Zack Snyder was gone.
Yes.
Reshoots began in July of 2017.
No time like now.
Yeah, that's about 4 months before the film was slated to come out. It came out in late October in some markets and then November here.
Oh, yeah.
4 months.
No time like the present.
This was famously done by Joss Whedon, who had written and directed The Avengers. They're like, hey.
He knows how to do it.
He knows what he's doing. Supposedly, he rewrote/reshot 15 to 20% of the movie, but there's reports saying that he might have done more than that. But there, no one has a solid number. 15 to 20 seems to be the general
He
consensus.
did give us the best Green Lantern movie we ever had.
I don't know who that was. That could have been Snyder.
Could have been.
No one has come out flat out said, like, this was his. There's a couple scenes, but if we're talking scene by scene, there's nothing solid.
No.
These reshoots, usually reshoots take a couple of weeks, cost $6 to $10 million. The reshoots for Justice League lasted 2 months and cost $25 million.
That's like a whole movie.
That's like a whole Joker.
Yes. The Joker made $1 billion.
But of course, the most famous part of that $25 million is Henry Cavill's mustache. I'm sure everybody remembers, but let's just go over it quickly. He shot Justice League. He moved on to Mission Impossible 6. In his contract, it stated that he had to have a real legit mustache, and Warner Brothers were like, hey, can we shave it for reshoots? We will give you $3 million to put a mustache back on him. And the company behind Mission Impossible 6 said no. I don't know how much that mustache cost, but that's part of that $25 million.
I'm sure it cost a lot.
And one of my favorite things is researching this is like Whedon speaking at something. He's like, the way he described it is that they had to wax it back, and I think that makes it even funnier.
Wow.
That he was just walking. So it's not just him with a mustache. It's him with a mustache as close to his face as they can get with just a ton of wax, which is just a funnier mental image.
That's incredible. Like, good for the company that was doing Mission Impossible 6. Say, nope, our mustache.
No, this was our scheduled time. It's in our contract. No.
We're not going to wait for as long as it takes for him to regrow that mustache.
Warner's even gave them test footage about how easy it was to put a mustache back on.
Wow. They're like, well, if you can do that, you can take one off.
But like I said, this was 4 months before the movie was supposed to come out. So at the time, Warner Brothers was having a merger with AT&T, and Justice League had to come out before the end of 2017 for the executives to get their year-end bonuses. So instead of having the leeway of something like what Batman v Superman had, where they gave it an extra year, they had 4 months.
How are those bonuses,
total.
boys?
I bet they liked them.
I'm sure they did.
But the other side of this, aside from just the bonuses, is now former Warner's CEO, Kevin Tetsuhara, I don't really care to pronounce his name because he's a sex predator, allegedly.
All right.
He left the company in shame.
Sounds like he didn't leave it in pride.
I'm allowed to not pronounce your name if you're a sex predator.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. He forced the movie to be under 2 hours versus Batman versus Superman, which is like a 2.5 hour ordeal, or 3 if you got the extended cut.
Extended cut.
But a movie like that, cramming 3 character origins in there, a resurrection, and you still have to have an overall plot in under 2 hours.
And somehow do it without having a second act.
This baby's the kiss of death.
Again, somehow do it without having a second act.
Yeah, it wasn't a good call. And the reason that studios do that is they know a movie is bad. So if you have a short movie, you can maximize the number of screens you have.
Yes.
to get hopefully more butts planted down. So that is the production.
Okay.
We're moving on to the release. I need to have a drink. My throat is dry.
Okay, release it, baby.
That's the end of my tea. Hope I can get through the rest of this.
I'm sure you can. Keep educating me.
So Justice League comes out, reportedly costing $300 million, probably more because Warner's isn't going to admit to it, but it makes $650 million.
All right, so I mean, there's probably a small profit.
When you add in Blu-ray sales and rentals, the movie did not lose money, but it didn't really make any. It is considered a pretty hard flop.
Like just stiff as a board off the diving board, face first under the water, smack. Painful for everybody. So hard it hurts the water.
Joss Whedon was, according to multiple sources, micromanaged at a Comic-Con where I'm getting the same quote from the waxing. He said it was nearly impossible to, in his words, rejig a nearly completed movie in the time that he was given. He seems to be have a depressing laughter towards it. Like, what is this thing? He did say that his version of Justice League and Snyder's are not the same. There's kind of two different competing tones in there.
Yeah.
But kind of my favorite anecdote that didn't come from him, it came from an actor. So if you remember Justice League, the movie opens up with a robber stealing something and Batman watches him. And that scene opens up and the guy sees Batman and he drops the money. He kind of turns away like he's going to kind of do like this, kind of like stiff arm, kind of like I'm just walking away.
Yep.
And it's
very awkward.
But then it's cut in this weird way. And it wasn't just my eyes that were like, that seems strange. Like it was supposed to be a comedic scene. The actor who was that thief came out and said, yeah, this was cut, or this was shot in a way that it was supposed to be like just a funny way to open the movie. But Warner's didn't want to open their big serious movie that way. So Joss Whedon sent him a bottle of his favorite champagne and it just had a note reading, "To battles lost."
Huh.
But it just creates this whole awkward edit. And the editing in this movie is so all over the place. But that opening scene, not the teaser with Superman talking about how hope is like your car keys, which is also weird.
Hope is like your car keys. I don't know how it is, but sure.
Within the credits themselves, Zack Snyder still receives a sole director's credit. He also still has this weird auteur thing. So I guess he's kind of spoken out against it very publicly, but the movie does begin with, in the credits, a Zack Snyder film. No one's making him put that in there. If he didn't want that in there, he could have pulled that.
True. But didn't Whedon get like an executive producer credit?
He got, we'll get there. He got whatever, let's just say that one now. No, I'm going to save that one.
All right.
Because it leads into a thing. So
make up your damn mind.
So Whedon doesn't get a co-director credit. Going back with Superman 2 rules, which is the only one that I know of that kind of has a close enough comparison. If you don't know, the original Superman movie, the 1978 movie, originally Superman 1 and 2 were supposed to be like this 4-hour opus. Probably smartly, it was split into 2 movies. But Superman 2 was 75% completed when the director Richard Donner was fired. Another guy, Richard Lester, came in, but he had to reshoot a lot of the movie just to get a director's credit. Again, these are 1978 rules, and I can't find anything more recent than that. But in order to get a co-directing credit, someone needs to shoot at least 40% of the movie. So if the rules are still the same, Whedon probably shot less than 40% of what is in the finished product, which would fall in line with that 15 to 20 we're being told.
Okay.
He did receive a co-scripting credit. Zack Snyder and Chris Terrio got a story by credit. Story by can mean nothing. If we're sticking in the same world of Whedon, if you look at Avengers, it will say story by Joss Whedon and Zach Penn. Zach Penn's whole script was thrown out, but because of union rules, he still got a credit.
Good for him.
Comparatively, when this was being discussed, Kevin Smith was talking about it. I can't remember the name of the movie. It's a Paul Rudd movie that he did ghostwriting. And he's like, I basically rewrote the entire movie. Like the whole movie plays out like a Kevin Smith movie, but I didn't get any screenwriting credit, but Whedon got credit on this. So he must have done a significant chunk. I should have written down what movie that was. I didn't. Sorry.
Well, good job.
But within credits, it's not just people plugging in things. People are usually, or at least directors are usually pretty specific about where like their name will fall and other things will fall as opening credits are falling out. And so we see in those credits themselves, we see script by Chris Terrio and Joss Whedon. And then literally the next shot, it's like the entire screen is just a card, like a homeless guy with just a piece of cardboard. And it just says, "I tried."
Oh no.
Which is the funniest thing. That's, I think, my favorite part of the movie. So Joss Whedon, immediate next shot. "I tried."
That's good.
depressing.
Clever.
But that's kind of what we have with the release of the movie. Do you want to hear what the original plan for this was?
Yes, I do.
This came out earlier in 2019. Everything about this is coming from Kevin Smith. He was visiting the set of Star Wars Episode 9, and he was talking to crew members, like, kind of at lunch. And a lot of those crew members had worked on Justice League.
Yes.
So they laid out to him what the movie was going to be and what the future was going to be.
Well, tell us.
So he just spilled it all. So supposedly, Jim Lee, one of the three heads of DC, the artist one, probably best known for his work on Batman Hush or 90s X-Men. Apparently he had done breakdown boards for 3 movies, although we were originally told there were only 2 Justice League movies. So the first movie is pretty similar, and this is a direct quote, that there might have been a mini scuffle or not, depending who you talk to, with Darkseid at the end of it. Green Lanterns were going to be in a couple of scenes.
Ooh, okay. I like it.
There's a moment in the trailer where we see Alfred going like, I don't remember the exact quote. It's like, he said you'd come. Like, let's hope you're not too late. And we all thought in that trailer moment that he was talking about Superman.
Yes.
Those were Green Lanterns.
Huh.
And then in a post-credit scene, Batman was going to wake up to 2 Green Lanterns outside of his room. It was supposed to be Tomar Ray and Kilowog. They're alien ones. Probably the 2 biggies. But, so, that's what we know about
Not Amansul.
Abin Sur, and no, he's dead.
Oh, okay.
Justice League 2 was going to go cosmic.
Glycon?
That's a snake god that Alan Moore worships.
I'm just checking. I'm trying to hit all the DC high points.
Yeah, Justice League 2 was going to go cosmic. They were going to go to Apocalypse to bring the fight to Darkseid, but they lose.
But Apocalypse spelled with a K.
Yes.
Ah, I remember.
Not in my notes, but in the comics. Damn you, Google Docs.
Uh-oh. What'd you Google Doc?
Oh, just Apocalypse.
Okay.
I spelled it the regular way.
Ha! I knew it.
Yeah, so all the heroes take the fight to Apocalypse. They lose. Darkseid returns to Earth and destroys the Earth and takes over.
Oh, that sucks.
It's their empire ending.
Oh.
He didn't have a lot to say about Justice League 3, but Justice League 3 was going to be all the heroes' last stand on Earth.
Oh, you mean like Endgame?
Endgame hadn't happened yet.
But still, they can't do it now.
You can see some parallels in there. So that's the original plan for Justice League. Would you have wanted to see this trilogy?
Sure. I mean,
I've
already seen it now with Avengers, but still.
Yeah, it's not a terrible ending.
No.
Or not a terrible trilogy sound. And then let's deal with the difference between Snyder's Justice League and Whedon's Justice League. What was cut out? Also to keep it under 2 hours.
Yes.
Again, this isn't everything. I'm covering the broad strokes on this one. This one I'm glad was changed. We saw it in the trailers, and I'm glad they switched it. Wonder Woman at the beginning of the movie gets a bunch of upskirt shots, but then she saves a bank from terrorists who are going to blow it up.
Oh, good for her.
In the Zack Snyder cut, she was going to lose and it was going to explode and a bunch of people were going to die. And that was one of the opening scenes.
That's dark.
Yeah, especially since we already had a scene of like Superman standing there while a sentence exploded.
Yes.
How many superheroes need to be standing around while something explodes?
How incompetent do these superheroes have to be?
I'd much rather have Wonder Woman save the day and be heroic than, oops, a bunch of people died.
Yeah.
So that's a good change, I think. This was a role that was cut, but Barry Allen's future wife, Iris West, was in the movie, in a scene where he saves her. Again, the trailer showed a little bit of it. You can find this deleted scene online. It's not hard to find. But there was just like a scene of him pushing his finger through glass and then running and saving her. Partially in the trailer. Aquaman was going to get an origin with Willem Dafoe as Vulko, who had that role in Aquaman. Even today, as we record, Zack Snyder was dropping pictures on his social media of choices, like Vero or something. I don't know. It's not one I use. He was literally dropping pictures of Vulko today. Of Aquaman meeting with Vulko and Mira later in the movie after the mother box is stolen. And there's another picture that Zack Snyder's been putting up, or a lot of this new information is coming from, of Aquaman saying that he was going to go home and see my dad, which probably was at the end of the movie.
Poseidon?
No, it's Jango Fett. It's just a New Zealander.
Oh, okay.
Who's supposedly from Maine.
Interesting.
You didn't see Aquaman, it's in Maine.
Oh, I think I've read some Aquaman. That...
You know how we love our New Zealand Mainers.
Of course we don't.
Martian Manhunter was going to be in the movie.
Ah, Jamie Farr?
No.
Oh.
Also, so you're just switching MASH actors now.
Oh, no, whatever. Yeah, no, never mind. Not Jamie Farr. Whoever that guy was.
To be fair, we had seen this actor in the previous 2 movies in Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. Harry Lennox's character, who played the General.
Ah.
That was supposed to be Martian Manhunter the whole time.
That would have been interesting.
Yeah, Zack Snyder said he had filmed the whole scene, but he hadn't gotten any of Harry Lennox's stuff, which he was just going to do singles on in LA. Remember this for when we talk about if the Snyder Cut exists or not.
Okay.
If you have a whole actor who didn't shoot on it. Oh, we also get Cyborg Origins as him playing football in Gotham. Apparently when he's doing stuff with the mother box, like his mind goes inside of it and he sees his family, including himself before he's blown up, and he has a flashback with his mother. Batman tells everyone about the nightmare sequence, but that was cut, obviously, because we just ignored the hell out of that. After Superman is resurrected, he returns to the Kryptonian ship and he gets the black suit, like the one he had in the comics in the 90s.
Weren't there pictures of him in the black suit?
He released an image of part of the suit on Instagram.
Yes.
There is nothing beyond that.
So it existed.
Yes. Supposedly he shot in it too, but there's nothing that is currently out there.
All right.
That being said, Zack Snyder could have posted a picture on Vero about it since we started recording, because he's all up in arms today because Variety posted an article.
Oh, okay.
We'll get there too. Supposedly, this one sounds a little silly, so I don't know how much credence I'm going to give this one. Supposedly, the suit was supposed to turn into the traditional red, blue, gold after he rejected the anti-life equation and Steppenwolf and Darkseid, and the black suit was going to become more colorful. That sounds stupid. I don't know.
Yeah, it just changes color on the spot.
But it's not a mood ring, is it?
Did you know they have a toilet seat mood ring now? It's
No.
a toilet seat that you sit on, and it's supposed to give your mood.
I hate that. Supposedly, Darkseid is seen through a boom tube. This has been confirmed basically by Kevin Smith and Zack Snyder, so I'm going to say that one was a definite. And at the end of the movie, instead of just Deathstroke rolling up to Lex Luthor's yacht, the scene was originally him breaking Lex Luthor out of jail. Huh. That's what was cut. Ew. I hate that picture you just showed me of a mood ring toilet seat.
There you go. It's a thing.
Holy hell. Okay. Last segment. Strap in, folks. So that is everything that happened. And then we get to hashtag Release the Snyder Cut.
That's what came up next.
Inverted centaurs is terrible.
Yeah, frightening.
So this is a hashtag that won't die. It's been going on for 2 years. I mean, kudos to the guys that are doing it. It's super embarrassing that you're still doing this, but you're still doing it 2 years later.
Yes, it won't go away.
And for every bit of news that pops up for any Warner Brothers movie or project, that's all you see in the comments. And as a guy who thinks social media is pretty stupid, I mean, you guys aren't white supremacists, so you're not the worst, but you're still pretty annoying.
Yes. Carry on.
I feel like I lost some people on that comment.
You may have. You hear that? That's the sound of people unfollowing and unsubscribing.
Whatever. I'm going to speak my truth.
Okay, speak your truth.
So, Release the Snyder Cut. Why won't it die? Speaking of that event that Snyder had where he talks about movies and his own thing, he confirmed that he has a cut. But again, this is probably an assembly cut. We talked about what an assembly cut was earlier. Just a couple of days ago, Danny Elfman, who replaced Junkie XL on the score, he kind of laughed it off. He's like, there isn't a cut. The movie wasn't done. So we have Danny Elfman coming out and saying, it doesn't exist. But, as I already mentioned, Snyder keeps posting photos on this Vero thing or whatever it is and thanking fans. And then, for some reason, last week, at the 2-year anniversary, Gal Gadot, Ben Affleck, Ray Fisher, Joe Mangli, the really buff guy, Manglianello.
There you go. The really buff guy.
He is.
Cyborg.
No, that's Ray Fisher.
Oh, sorry.
No, Joe, he was the guy who was in Spider-Man and one of those vampire shows, and he's huge. He's
okay.
Huge.
All right, fine.
They all put out either on Twitter or Instagram, hashtag Release the Snyder Cut, 2 years later.
Ooh.
What the hell, guys? Does that mean that something is happening if you're all doing it all at once? Does it mean nothing? Momoa says he's seen it, and he says that everyone should see it.
I feel like he's a guy I would trust. He's really huge, too.
But then Variety was putting out a piece literally today. I think it was today. It might have been yesterday, but I think it was today. They was talking about the future of DC movies, trying to rework Superman, Green Lantern, Flash. And then at the end of it, they were saying there is no chance in hell that the Snyder Cut will... The Snyder Cut again. Which 3 of those unwatchable cuts we talking about here? Sorry, getting surly towards the end of this.
I guess you are.
Knowledgeable insiders told Variety, in quotes, there's no way that's ever happening. So... this piece comes out, Zack Snyder starts releasing photos like crazy. And then someone was like, again, I think it's called Vero, one of those weird social medias that no one uses.
Oh, TikTok?
No,
He
wasn't releasing a song.
Okay, fair enough.
You're like, Zack Snyder, say it ain't so. And he's like, he told them not to lose hope and that he was editing as they spoke. Like, so which is it? You have a cut or you're editing?
Maybe he's editing the cut,
He just...
the director's cut of the Zack Snyder cut.
So I don't know. I don't know. Does this thing... I think it exists in an unfinished form, but if he's also saying that he shot scenes but hasn't shot it with all the actors, and this definitely doesn't have all the effects finished, for anything that wasn't in the trailer, probably unfinished effects. That's just how that goes.
I'm hoping that like there's a cut and like the finished effects are like really bad Photoshop or like Microsoft Paint.
There is also precedent for not exactly this, because I feel like this is more unfinished than the example I'll give, but Superman 2, as I mentioned, the original director Richard Donner was fired. In 2006, they released the Richard Donner cut, but even within that, there's some unfinished effects, just in what they released, but it's not a ton of it. Most of it's done, but a couple things there, they just, weren't finished, and they didn't feel like spending the money to do it. They're like, if you want to see it, here it is, but we're not going to spend extra.
Yeah. Here's the two guys holding up Christopher Reeves as he flies.
I feel like there's some green screen in there. I haven't watched it in a couple of years. It's over there. It's on the wall of
movies.
I haven't seen it in a couple of years, but I think there's some green screen in there where it's just like, yeah, there's a green screen, deal with it. So I don't know. That's it. That's what happened. I don't know if I'm taking a side or not on that, but that is what happened with this movie. This fascinating thing. And today was a bad day to look at it because unfortunately Zack Snyder was putting out a bunch of stuff. So when I was looking up hashtag Release the Snyder Cut, it was all about the new photos. But if you look at the comments that people leave, they're insane. People blow up this movie. They're like how they deserve it, how this is masterful epic with insane special effects and epic storytelling. Blah. I'm like, you haven't seen it and how they deserve it.
Did you just make the metal sign with your hand?
I did.
Wow. Are you one of these people that are doing this?
No.
Yes, you are. You're like, I can see you keyboard warrioring right now. I deserve this. Metal, rock and roll. Yeah.
It's bananas.
Bananas.
I've never seen a movie live on like this, a non-existent movie.
But it might not be non-existent, Zach.
You son of a bitch. Don't feed the flames.
That's me blowing. I'm feeding it oxygen.
I don't know. Now that I've given you this master level thesis.
No, we said it was borderline, man. I mean, you're not going to get an A on it. Solid B.
Spent so much time.
Well,
what are your thoughts?
I think that there is some sort of mashup of things. I'm sure that there's footage that wasn't used. Obviously, if there are reshoots and Zack Snyder, how does he have access to them? That's the other thing. Aren't they property of Warner Brothers?
I mean, they'll still be on his computer.
Isn't that property of Warner Brothers?
It is. He can't put it out in the world. But I mean, if he's been working on it off and on, yeah.
Or could he? What's to stop it from leaking? Oh, my computer got hacked. Somebody found it.
There's a world where that happens. I don't know. What do you think about this process? It was weird and messy and it won't die. I guess that's my opinion on it. But what's yours?
I think
the whole thing, the whole blanket of this movie that won't go away. And this not great movie.
Never going to go away until there's a resolution to it, I don't believe. And I think that Warner Brothers felt, and I've always said this about their movie universe, that they were having to play catch up with Marvel and try and replicate or beat Marvel.
That was in the Variety article today.
I didn't read the Variety article. I'm just saying.
I know.
I think that Warner Brothers has always felt like they're trying to play catch up with what Marvel's doing because of the billions of dollars Marvel makes on their movies. But Marvel took their time and had a well laid out plan. And it sounds like Snyder was trying to have a laid out plan for multiple movies, and Warner Brothers didn't buy into it. So Warner Brothers might be just as much to blame as anybody else. And that's why I think...
I blame the executive. I blame the studio more than I blame any creative for the failure of this movie.
And that's why I think Marvel movies work, is because they're not beholden to a giant studio where the success of that...
They got Feige leading the ship, but there's also stuff of Edgar Wright leaving Ant-Man because he wasn't being given the control he wanted.
But
other guys saying they have a ton of it. So who
knows? But let me finish my thought. If Warner Brothers fronts the money for this, it affects all of their movies that they do and everything else that they do.
It still is.
Yeah, exactly. There's a masterclass in how not to do something or how to do it wrong or how to rush and try and play catch up. They've shown that they're capable of making great movies, great superhero movies. I mean, look at Wonder Woman. That's a fantastic superhero movie.
2/3 of it are great.
It's better than the other stuff that they put out.
I'm so disappointed when they told you what Steve Trevor said. It would have been so much better left undone.
Yeah, probably. But still.
I thought it was so ballsy, then they immediately went back on it and looked, never mind.
They
Just a
made
personal
choices.
opinion.
They made choices. I don't know. I think that Warner Brothers really just needs to hit the reset button on this whole thing. It was like, you know what it is? It's like you have a friend who's really, really successful with their lemonade stand. And you're like, I want to have a really good lemonade stand too, but I'm going to try and do way more with my lemonade stand way faster than I should have.
I'm going to make an Arnold Palmer, but it's half rat poison instead of half lemonade.
Okay, a little extreme, but you know.
Is it? Is that metaphor that extreme?
Or let's say perhaps you have a milkshake and I have a straw. And my straw reaches your milkshake. And I slurp it up.
I haven't seen that. I haven't really seen that since not that long after it came out. It's been a while.
I'm finished. What a great movie.
I thought you meant Justice League. I'm like, it's fine.
No.
I've shared my new opinion.
There Will Be Blood is far superior than that.
One, I'm curious to see it. The quote unquote Snyder Cut, even though this movie is credited right up front as a Zack Snyder film directed by Zack Snyder.
But who edited it?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's more the edit than it is anything else. I do want to see it, but there's also a part of me for how annoying this movement has been that I wanted it to come out and I wanted it to just be terrible.
What if, though, Warner Brothers has seen the cut and they feel like, wow, this probably was better than we put out? They can't go back and do that.
Also, if they put it out, it will be part one of a 3-part series that will never happen.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of have painted themselves into a corner.
What a weird saga. And it's weird that it's still unfolding 2 years later.
Well, I think when they get the new Batman and all that plays itself out.
I totally see Affleck another one of these. I like him in Batman versus Superman. And in Justice League, he's not the worst part. That's the Flash. I really hate Ezra Miller in this movie.
Yeah, he was insufferable.
Yeah. A lot of people are like, he's the highlight. I'm like, disagree.
No.
Hard disagree. He's really annoying. But I mean, Affleck's not trying, which is too bad because I do like a lot of the performance of this. Gal Gadot's great. The one that I kind of latched onto a lot that I don't know if I necessarily did the first time was Ray Fisher as Cyborg. I really liked that performance when I rewatched the movie. I'm like, oh my God, he's really good.
Yeah.
I don't know if I really connected with that the first time around, but second time, yeah, he's really good at what he does with what he's given. Totally liked him. I want to see more of him. Much less of the Flash.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the Justice League. I don't know what I'm going to call this episode. Will I call it Release the Snyder Cut? Will I call it The History of Justice League? I have no idea. I feel like if I call it Release the Snyder Cut, I'll get more hits on it.
Yeah, probably. A little false advertising.
Yeah, a little bit, because I don't actually care that much.
There you go.
I'm curious. I'll watch it, but I don't think it's going to happen, and I don't think it's fully real.
Last time you saw something on the internet you wanted to watch, you were curious about, you probably got a virus on your computer.
I don't use my computer that much.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
It's true. My computer's just at the store, and I only really use it for store stuff.
Oh, okay. So you're a cell phone user.
I don't use that much. It's mostly for podcasts. If I didn't listen to podcasts, I could get away with the flip phone.
Wow. A burner phone?
It's podcasts. They keep me in.
Oh, good for you.
Like this podcast.
Yes.
Holy hell. So,
and if you like this podcast, you can support us by
we
going
still have a letter.
Oh, damn it.
There's another segment.
This has been like this is the longest show ever.
And by the time I can edit it, it'll be shorter.
Yeah, well, you have to sit and edit it. I don't.
Not by that, but it'd still be a long one.
All right.
All right, we're moving on from That's What Justice League Was to letters to the editors.
Lot of questions, number one. Damn few answers.
Here's another one of your letters to the editors.
Make it so.
With Picard coming out and Rambo and Terminator and all this other stuff, with all these actors coming back for one last ride.
Yes.
What is the one last ride movie you still want to see?
The one last ride movie?
If we're talking stick with Arnold, I'd like to see another Predator.
Yeah, I could do that.
Dutch.
And Expendables.
That whole franchise is one last ride.
But they're fun.
They did 3 one last rides.
Yes, so give me a 4th. I don't want another Indiana Jones movie.
I still do. Because
I don't know. It would have to be a really good story.
I think they would need to. Oh, by the way, Mandalorian episode 2. That was so Indiana Jones inspired, like the chase scene.
Yes,
with the sand crawler, like him getting mashed up against the wall, getting dragged.
Oh yeah, that was 110%.
All Indy.
Yes,
but I do want to see another Indiana Jones because he can't be physical this time, so it just has to be purely him thinking for the most part. So I want to see kind of how does he evolve and how do you fight Nazis that got away one last time. I still want to see that one.
Well, he was fighting
last time.
Russians in the last movie.
Yeah, but you can still do Nazis that got away. I just wanted to be him against Nazis one last time, but he has to think about it more because he can't do actiony stuff at his age.
I'm sure he could.
He did a bit in Star Wars.
Yeah.
But
Another last ride.
Keaton as Batman. Everyone talks about that one.
Another Back to the Future movie.
No.
It ends on the right note.
And also, I'm just thinking about the health of both of those guys. I don't think you could do that movie without it being sad. That's kind of a dark answer, but I don't think you can do that one.
Another One Last Ride movie.
This is one they talked about for a while, but it hasn't gone anywhere. And do what Terminator just did, but with the Alien series of Ripley, but you still get Newt and Hicks in there versus killing them off in the credit scene of Alien 3.
Huh.
I'd love to see. That was supposed to be done by Neil Blomkamp, and it got pushed down because of Alien, whatever the last one was. Michael Fassbender plays a flute with himself. I can't remember the name of it. It wasn't a good movie, but I like to see that one. You're just looking at the movies over there like,
Ghostbusters.
We're getting that. We're getting One Last Ride.
So there we go. That's the one I really want to see.
It's already happening.
I had to think. I was looking and trying. Like, I can't think of one off the top of my head without taking a peek.
It'll be a fun one. Kind of ties into last week.
Another Ninja Turtles?
That's what I was going to say.
It does tie into last week.
If you got them, like, because there are in the Mirage stuff, like future old Ninja Turtles. There's not a ton of that material out there, but the Ninja Turtles, like all the stuff that happens in the future is like weirdly dark. Like they all have some kind of like falling out.
Ooh, what about the Mighty Ducks?
I don't remember any of them. I just remember the coach and the fat one.
Yeah, he's on Saturday Night Live now, I think. Yeah, Kenan Thompson. No, that was...
Kenan wasn't in that.
No, but he was in one of them.
Not that I remember.
He was in the second one,
Maybe I'm thinking about the goalie from that soccer one.
No, the goalie was also... Goldberg was also one of the fat ones.
But I only remember Coach Bombay. I don't remember any of the characters.
Give me another Harold and Kumar movie.
They did 3 of them. Those are fun. I enjoy those movies.
Yes, those are very enjoyable.
Even Neil Patrick Harris in the last one, he's like, I'll see you guys in the 4th one. We haven't got it yet.
No. Did you ever see Super Troopers 2?
I did not.
It was enjoyable. I could stand to have a Super Troopers 3.
I think you're lucky you got a Super Troopers 2.
Yeah. Rob Lowe's in it.
Seems in his wheelhouse.
Oh, it certainly was.
I mean, we already kind of got... It's a selfish one because it didn't do well. But Blade Runner 2049 is so good, and that kind of could be the one last ride. But the end of it it doesn't... I don't even know what the ending makes you feel, because like it's a happy ending, but it's also a sad ending, but it's also an inconclusive ending. But that movie underperformed so bad, it's never going to get another one. Guys, why didn't you see Blade Runner? It was so good.
We need a Porky's 3.
I never saw Porky's 2.
It's called Revenge of Porky's, I believe, actually.
I never saw it. That's why I don't know the title. I saw the first one.
We need a one last ride for Ben Affleck's version of Daredevil.
And the one I've been holding off on it because we already got it once, and we should be grateful that we got it once. But of course, the obvious one for me to say would be Serenity.
Oh yeah,
it's been 15 years, and that movie ends the way it needs to end, and that's fine. There was 6-issue follow-up comic series, which is unresolved. But look, I'm happy scrapping those 6 issues if you were to say this is what the world looks like 15 years later.
Yeah. Oh, you know, another one last ride would be kind of fun is the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes series.
That's supposedly happening. That's the thing. We're getting all these things. Like, we're getting Picard, and I'm so excited.
Yes.
I mean, there's been talk about RoboCop being a RoboCop 2, which is currently back on. It was off, now it's on again.
Yeah. Wallace and Gromit, one last ride.
No, because I think the voice actor for Wallace is dead.
Oh, that sucks.
They had a 4th one, and it's no good. I saw it once. I haven't seen it since, but I remember not liking it.
Frozen 3. I know Frozen 2 just came out, but give me Frozen 3.
I'm sure you'll get it.
Frozen 3, the global thaw.
I've never seen Frozen.
What?
Didn't have a reason to.
It's entertaining.
It's on Disney Plus. I'll never get around to it.
On a snow day, you should just do it.
Because I'm watching Spider-Man right now.
Oh, that's fair.
And the Clone Wars. I'm finally watching the Clone Wars.
Thoughts on it?
It's good.
All right. There you go.
I stopped watching it for like a week because I was a little bit put off by a Jar Jar Binks C-3PO episode.
So you needed a moment to reset?
Who's the straight man?
C-3PO.
That's awful.
Yeah, it's not it's suboptimal for certain.
Yeah, so since that one, I kind of fell off it, but I'll get back it because I was really enjoying it. And then I got to that episode, and I just had to take a breather after that.
A timeout.
Yeah, like you did that episode, so I'm gonna walk away for a tick.
How about one more, like a one last ride with like Conroy and Mark Hamill as Batman and Joker?
we're kind of getting that with the Crisis on Infinite Earths. I mean, and they still do animated stuff, so I don't feel the separation there because they're still both doing it.
All right, fair enough.
But yeah, if you want to give me one more like actual Batman the Animated Series thing that isn't like, did I just watch it by myself, or did we do an episode on that Harley Quinn movie where she's farting up the Batmobile?
Apparently, you just watch it by yourself because I don't recall her farting in the Batmobile.
Oh, maybe we should do that one day then, because that movie's terrible.
Oh God, no! I don't want terrible things. It's almost Christmas season.
And she bangs Nightwing.
Maybe we did watch it. I can't remember. I feel like I remember that. Anyway, if you'd like to do something memorable, go to patreon.com/editorsnotecomics. $1 a month gets you this show a whole day early. Lucky you. Plus, spoiler and spoiler-free reviews of the weekly releases of Buffy, Angel, and Firefly.
Oh, here's one for you. I'm cutting you off. Do you have a cartoon one? Think back to your childhood. We can go back to the preamble, because like He-Man's getting a follow-up. The old Ninja Turtles cartoon got a follow-up in the second most recent show. Do you have something like from when you were a kid you'd like to see one more time?
Well, DuckTales is going on right now.
Yeah.
So outside of that, Darkwing Duck or Tailspin.
Okay. Gritty reboots.
Yes.
All right. You can continue. I just thought of that.
Well, there you go. So again, $1 a month gets you this show a whole day early, Patreon exclusive, spoiler-free reviews of the weekly releases of Buffy, Firefly, and Angel.
Sale going on right now, 40% off through Saturday. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, everyone. You're on Twitter
at Junior Rich, and you can see Zach at 210 Water Street in Hollowell, and he's on all the social medias and internet at editorsnotecomics.com. Stay classy, Space Cats.
I thought it was stay cool.
Oh, you're right. Stay cool, Space Cats.
You don't even know.
Meow.
Boo.
Yeah.
No. All right, we'll be back.